I'm Spencer Hughes, and this is a special segment of Hughes from the Heart called Everyday People, when we're talking to folks like you out there. And some everyday people are a little better known than other everyday people, and that's true of our guest right now. Joey Garcia is a relationship lifestyle expert for Fox 40 News in Sacramento, where she lives. Author of a book we're going to talk about as well. Founder of the Belize Writers Conference in beautiful Belize in Central America. And she takes writers on vacation with literary agents from New York and Hollywood. I think I need Joey to be my agent here. I don't know. I've been missing out here. Joey, thanks so much for being with us on Hughes from the Heart. How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. We're Facebook friends. I've admired your work. Now, you're in the media. You are an author. You deal with a whole bunch of different topics and with a lot of different people. And the focus of this, eventually I want it to be just on just kind of random things we talk about. But obviously right now, coronavirus is kind of the running thing that is affecting all of us. There's nobody, I don't think, on this planet that isn't affected by this in some way or another, even if it's second or third hand. How is this affecting you, first personally, and then in terms of all the work you do and all the TV stuff you do and how you interact maybe with guests and with business people and things like that?
You know, Spencer, actually, I have to admit, I am an extreme introvert. So this not affected my life very much at all. I am normally in my home. I work a lot from home. I do a lot of online coaching and online editing for people. So I do go into the television station normally, but right now, of course, we're just doing our segments via Zoom. But the reality is that, like, I go out with friends maybe once a week. I love to be at home. I love my house. I have a dog. I love being at home with my dog. So it hasn't had much impact on me. And I've been this way my entire life. I was a kid who was very self-contained, could entertain myself for hours, just in my own backyard. So while I'm on Facebook and I'm seeing everyone having these panics about not being around other people, and that's my norm.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of people, that this is kind of the way they like it. I'm a very social person. I haven't even been doing the radio show from the small radio station in the small town where I work out of in Shelton, Washington, which is about 20 minutes from where I am at home right now. And I miss it. It's a very small operation, and it's just my co-host and I usually there anyway. And he's there and I'm home, and the guests are all on the phone or on Zoom or on Skype and the phone and things like that. And I just miss it. I drove to do some grocery shopping and drove past the station, and I just felt kind of heartache for it. And just kind of these little things that I'm missing that are adding up on my psyche, you know, like just things I took for granted. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, is that even just having a cocktail with a friend after work, can't do that right now. I mean, the thought, and I'm in Washington State, by the way, which was kind of before New York kind of took over. It was the epicenter. This is where all the deaths were really happening in Kirkland, Washington, which is about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours away from us, I think. The thought that I remember where I was when I saw my phone give me the wire update, the news update, that Governor Inslee had shut down he was ordering every bar and restaurant in the state of Washington to close. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe that on my way home from work, you know, I put in a 17-hour day. I'm not going to be able to stop and have my burrito at my favorite Mexican place, or I'm not going to be able to just little things that I know sound silly. But when you add this up after like weeks and weeks, and well, you're in California. I thought California was pretty strict, and I think it is, right? I mean, your shelter in place is one of the stricter ones in the country, right?
Yeah, but again, you know, the thing is that I live from a space of gratitude. Every morning when I wake up, I list the things I'm grateful for, from waking up to my bed and my room and my house and my heater and my shower, everything, the people in my life, everything. And I do the same thing before I go to sleep. So it really is an inoculation against taking things for granted. And so I can enter this experience and just go deeper into being present and appreciative of what I have. And I roll through life that way, to be honest. So that's why, I mean, it's not that much different. On top of that, I do have a severe respiratory issue. I'm one of those sensitive groups. I have severe asthma, so I'm always careful. I'm always washing my hands. I don't touch doorknobs, those kinds of things that are just real common sense. And they also are about care of the community. So I also write for a newspaper, and one of the things that I wrote early on when the crisis hit, the coronavirus crisis, is is that all we're being asked to do is go back to the basic things we learned in first grade. That's it.
You're
First
right.
graders are taught for their sneezes and their coughs. They're taught to wash their hands properly. They're taught to stay home if they're sick, and their parents don't always adhere to that, but that's what kids are taught in school. So we're just being asked to do those things, which are all very sensible things.
They really are. And that leads me to my next question perfectly. It's like you read my mind here. Do you think we're going to, the thing that worries me, and I think it's our instantaneous gratification culture that has done this. It's kind of the quick dopamine hits. Our studies show that a goldfish swimming around in a glass bowl has a longer attention span than the average human being does, which is very disheartening. To think that a little fish with a brain the size of a tiny little dot can somehow hold its attention more than a person can. And I think we're doing this to ourselves with all this kind of instant dopamine hits of the TV and the Twitter and the quick music and the this and the that and the TikToks.
I would jump in and say, you know what, Spencer, though, I would say that we're doing it to ourselves, not, because we're not being willing to stay with something long enough to develop a deep relationship with it.
Absolutely.
Whether that is reading something or talking to someone, that it's not that, because people like to blame the media, and I'm in the media, you're not doing that, but I'm just saying,
I am too, yeah.
Right? And it isn't the media, because we are the media. So it is, you're right, that people are training themselves to be distractible, which means to say they're not in control of their own minds. They're letting the external world control them. So it's interesting that we're all inside our homes, and hopefully being inside our homes will teach us to be inside our bodies so that we can be more present in the way you're talking about.
No, absolutely. And where I was going to go with this is, do you think, and I've seen it in the past, I saw it after 9/11, everybody coming together, everybody being nice. I couldn't believe I was at a four-way intersection with all the lights gone and people were just kind, nobody flipping anybody off, people holding doors open longer than normal, people smiling more than normal. And then it all went back to crap again. Everybody started being ugly to each other and being mean-faced.
Well, I know that I won't, because I don't, I'm not going to fall back. But you're right. People do have short attention spans when it comes to change. And I think they have seen this COVID-19 crisis as something temporary, because they're saying when this is over, and rather than understand that this could be a new lifestyle change for the United States of America and the rest of the world, they're seeing this as temporary. This is really an opportunity for new behavior all the way around. But I agree with you. People have been so kind. As I walk my dog, neighbors that I don't know are saying hello, and I've heard from neighbors that that's their experience too. It remains to be seen whether we can learn from a crisis and experience it as an opportunity, or whether we will stay in the mindset of crisis and just be glad that something was over and it's past, and we can get back to the way things were before. In other words, what people call normal. Right. When it wasn't normal at all, really, it was abnormal behavior. Because who sneezes without covering their nose?
I see a lot of people, weird. Unfortunately. I don't know how the women's room is, but the men's room, I could write a book on. Well, if I wrote a book on every time I saw a guy washing his hands, it would be a very short book. Let me tell you. But hopefully now it's a little different.
I know what you mean. It's sort of. I have been, again, because I am a sensitive group, I used to have to go for breathing treatments and all that stuff. So I am someone who, when I have someone come work in my house, construction workers, whatever, I always say, if you're going to use the restroom, you have to wash your hands. And they're always shocked. I said, I can't afford to get sick. I'm in the communication business. It will derail you for a week. It will derail me for a month.
No, absolutely. Do you think what we are doing is going to, how long do you think all this is going to last? Let me ask you that. I ask everybody that same question. What, in your mind, do you think is the time frame on this? Like you said, this could be kind of the new normal everyone kind of uses now as the term. How long do you think this is going to be before? I mean, I was laid off from a job. I started 3 days into it, and it's just been awful because I left another job for better opportunity for my family, better hours, more money, shorter commute. Everything was working in our favor. Finally, the universe was shining on us. And then 3 days later, I'm told I don't have to come back, or I will come back, but they don't know when. How long do you see this thing stretching out to in terms of the everyday normalcy getting back to the swing of things?
Well, I think people have started the meter at when they were told to shelter in place, which is the wrong place in my mind to start the meter. The meter starts last year, because it's COVID-19, not COVID-20. So they first recognized this virus in late fall of 2019. So I think when we're going to look at like how long, we got to look that it's already been, 6-9 months maybe? I'm not great at math, so help me out there. But
I think
anyway.
it's around 5 months total. I think it started hitting China, I thought, in like November, December, I thought. That's when we started hearing about it anyway, but it probably, the speculation is it was going on longer than that.
Yeah, so the epidemiologist, I think, identified it in, was it late September, early October? So I would say that it's going to continue through probably maybe June. And then I think it'll go away during the warmer months, and we're going to have some version of it again in the fall. It is with us. Just like anything else like this, any other kind of virus stays with us.
Sure.
And we have to maintain these kind of wellness practices and get used to enjoying our own company and being home in solitude and not being lonely. Learning, I do relationship segments, so learning the difference between solitude and loneliness. One of the interesting things that I say to people and keep saying to people is, this is not a time to be on a dating app. You're married, but a lot of people going on these dating apps and they're looking for a partner because they're lonely and they want someone to rescue them from their feelings. And that's the most unhealthy way to start a relationship, right? We should start a relationship feeling good about ourselves and not wanting to rescue someone or to be rescued.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I mean, loneliness has got to be on the uptick. We know anxiety is on the uptick. A guest I'm going to chat with right after we finish here in a few minutes at 1 o'clock my time is a therapist. And I think it'll be helpful to talk with her because I think we're all feeling some level of this at different degrees of intensity. I mean, some people are feeling overwhelming loneliness. Some people aren't feeling it at all. Some people like you kind of prefer being more solitary folks and things like that. Other people, they have to be in the crowd. They have to be with friends. They have to, people are going nuts. I look and I secretly admire, Joy, when I see people watching Netflix 18 hours a day. I'm like, God, this sounds like it's summer camp for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I think, we forget that anxiety and loneliness are part of the human condition, just like sadness and anger and depression and everything else. We are over socialized to believe that these are problematic conditions instead of being taught how to manage them, to understand that these are emotions, they are temporary, they pass through us. That's it. And that we need to develop tools and skills for taking care of ourselves during times in which these particular emotions are with us. I'm not a psychologist. My background is more in spirituality. So I'm coming from a different perspective. And my perspective is one in which, even in the Catholic Mass, they say, protect us from all anxieties until we wait, as we wait in joyful hope, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anxiety is part of being human. All it is unused energy. If we use the energy moving toward our purpose, moving toward our calling, then there is less anxiety to drive us to distraction and dismay and drama. So it has to be,
true.
A willingness from within ourselves. We have to be willing to take care of ourselves and not always want someone to alleviate whatever is uncomfortable in our internal life or external life.
Boy, this is
but
such
that's
good
just
stuff.
My opinion. I could be wrong.
No, this is great. And you know what? I want to have you on again. Can I have you? I'm going to get greedy here. At a separate time, we'll do it when it's convenient for you. I would love to do another interview with you for the podcast, kind of on all these other spiritual issues, because that's really what my podcast is about. It's not about coronavirus. It's not about that. It's all about positivity. And I sense a great energy out of you. And I've always felt that from just being Facebook friends and seeing your posts and stuff, that you're a very positive person. I've never seen where you're not smiling, and you just have a lot of energy that comes out and it shows. But I'd love to have you on again, Joy, if you don't mind. We could talk about your book. Your book, by the way, tell us about this. It's nonfiction. It's called When Your Heart Breaks, It's Opening to Love, Healing and Finding Love After an Affair, Heartbreak, or Divorce. And it won a National Bronze Living Now Award. And where can people get this? Your website is joeygarcia.com, JoeyGarcia.com. Can they buy it from there or from Amazon, or where can people find this book?
Yeah, they can buy it from my website. They can buy it from Amazon. Absolutely. I think Walmart probably still has some copies online. So it's available in a lot of different places. And it really is looking at how to get through divorce and affairs and breakups, and coming out stronger and more resilient and more in a space of love for oneself and one's life experience. So that's what the book is about, and it has a lot of questions and answers that people have asked me over time. I write a relationship advice column for the Sacramento News and Review, so it incorporates that as well.
Well, that's fantastic. I want people to go to your website, joeygarcia.com, and get the book. And if you're game, I hope this went well for you on your end. I thought you sounded great. I'd love to have you on again, and we could talk about all sorts of kind of more fun topics, kind of spirituality-based topics, things that people can really relate to, relationships and things like that. Would you be willing to come on again?
Yes, of course. Why not? That'll be fun. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Joey Garcia was our guest here for this episode number 4 of Everyday People, and she is an author, a relationship lifestyle expert for Fox 40 News in Sacramento, author of this great book, When Your Heart Breaks, It's Opening to Love, and the founder of the Belize Writers Conference in Belize, Central America, and very interesting lady there with a lot of cool things to talk about. Joey, a pleasure, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Spencer.
This has been Everyday People. It's episode number 4 for those of you keeping track, a very special segment and always a free segment of Hughes from the Heart. Please consider subscribing today. This is something I want to make my daily passion, my daily bread and butter, and I can't do it without your support. I'll be honest with you. I can't do it without you. So will you join today at any tier level? It would be greatly appreciated. Patreon.com/Spencer Hughes. This is Hughes from the Heart, Everyday People, episode 4. Thanks for being here, and stay tuned for more episodes ahead.